everybody. We are today going to start talking about the Oriolus BA300s, the portable tube amplifier that some reviewers online are claiming is the most amazing amplifier on the market, portable tube amplifier on the market. And those reviewers should know better. And in fact, they probably do know better, but they are not being completely honest. What they do is they tell you in vague terms what this thing can do. And it makes your imagination run wild, because then you start thinking to yourself, oh my God, I am getting tube out of this, and it's only $500. Why wouldn't I buy this? It's balanced. We're going to talk about all that stuff in various videos that we're going to upload. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick bass test amongst 2 to 3 songs. And before we get there, I want to talk about some of the things involved with getting this portable amplifier. And it's really important that you understand what it is you're getting yourself into. Okay? So the Oriolus, as I said in the unboxing, costs anywhere between $370 to about $450. I went back and took a look at prices, and Pen & Audio, if you go on Pen & Audio's website, you can find this at about $370, which is how I got it. Or you can buy it from Moon Audio and other places, eBay, and they're charging on other websites $470. So there's a $100 difference if you go with Pen or if you go with other retailers. Now, if you purchase this thing, you are purchasing something that requires more purchases. Let's be clear with each other. Because not only do you have to have a special cable, which we'll get to, but you have to have a special player. This thing is not for your desktop. Your desktop does not have a 4.4 balanced out. It has a 3.5, but it doesn't have a 4.4. So if you were thinking that you could get this thing and get tube-lap performance for your laptop or your desktop on the go, that's not what this thing does. It will never give you that. Instead, you need a digital audio player, but not just any digital audio player. You need a digital audio player that has a 4.4 millimeter balanced output. And there are only a handful of such players on the market. Sony's more expensive players, for example, this one, the WM1A, has a 4.4 balanced out. It also has a 3.5 out, but it has a 4.4 balanced. The most expensive Sony players have a 4.4 out. The Hibi R6 Pro, not the original, but the Pro, has a 4.4 out. The FiiO M11 has a 4.4 out. The Canon N8 has a 4.4 out, I think. But that's about it. That's all that I know actually do have a 4.4 out. I'm sure there are a few others available, but the vast majority of players either have just 3.5 or they have a combination of 3.5 and a 2.5 balanced. And 2.5 balanced is widely available. But Oriolus went with 4.4. Why? Because they claim it's made it specifically for Sony players. But clearly, the vast majority of people are not going to go out and buy a $1,500 Sony, this doesn't cost $1,500, but $1,500, $1,000 to $1,500 Sony player, just to get a 4.4, because there's nothing really special about Sony players versus FiiO versus Hibi, nothing there. Their UI sucks, and their sound quality is about the same as anywhere else. But if you're going to buy this, you either already have a Sony or you are going to purchase a digital audio player that is going to accommodate a 4.4, which means either the M11, which costs about $500, or the R6 Pro, which costs about $800, or the WM1A, which costs, depending on if you get it used or if you get it new, anywhere between $600 and $1,000, or the Canon N8, which costs an astronomical, I think, about $2,500 to $3,000. Don't ever buy that. So here's what you're left with. Once you get the appropriate player, you get the chord. But let's say you don't have one of these. Let's say you have just a normal digital audio player. Can you still use this? Well, maybe. So here's the thing. Oriolus sells additional cables, and those additional cables come with additional purchases. You don't get a kit. You don't get this and 2 or 3 additional cables. That's not how it works. You get this, you get the standard cable, and then if you want to get additional cables to hopefully make this thing work with other players, you have to spend more money. Let us assume that you have a player that has a balanced 3.5 out. It's rare, but it does happen. If you have a balanced 3.5 out, then you're going to need a particular cable from Oriolus, which has a balanced 3.5 to a balanced 4.4. Let's say you have a player that has a balanced 2.5 out, in which case you're going to need a balanced 2.5 to a balanced 4.4. Each of those cables cost $60. That's right. I didn't say that the cables, plural, cost $60. No, each cable, singular, costs $60. So if you have a player that has a 3.5 millimeter balanced out and you have a 2.5 millimeter balanced out, then you're going to have to spend another $120 on top of this purchase to get this thing to work with those players. Now, some of you might say, is it possible to have a regular 3.5 unbalanced to a balanced 4.4? And the answer is, I don't know. It's potentially possible, I think, maybe. I haven't tested it, and I don't have the cables to test that with. If I get the cables, I'll test it. But here's the problem. What's the point? What's the point of getting a 3.5 unbalanced to a balanced 4.4 into a balanced amp? That doesn't make any sense because you're not getting balanced signal anymore. The whole purpose of this thing is supposed to be balanced sound, clean and wonderful. So if you're going to put in unbalanced sound, you might as well just use any old tube amplifier instead of spending $400 or $500 on this thing. Does that kind of make sense? Well, let's get started. What are we going to do in order to test the bass response today? Well, we're using my I'm using my Theo FH5. These are really good IEMs, and with these IEMs, I purchased separate a 4.4 millimeter balanced cable. So this is not the standard cable that comes with the FH5. I had to purchase this separately, and it cost about, I think, $40 or so. And I have this cable, and I have used it with the Sony, and I've used it with this. In fact, I was listening with the FH5 with this combination all morning, and it turned out to be okay. Nothing spectacular, but okay. Let's get to it. I'm going to turn this on. You see the blue light here, and the blue light designates the thing is on. The blue light does not designate that's not tube glow. That's just an LED inside saying that the unit is on. There is tube glow in the bottom, but it's faint, and you have to have it at the right angle in order to see it. So those are real tubes. There's no doubt about it. I have the I have the player ready, and I don't have my test playlist on here, so we're just going to start using whatever high-res files I do have here. And I'll let you know what they are in a moment. The way we're going to do the testing methodology is we're going to listen to a track part way with this combo, and then we're going to disconnect the amp and then put in the 4.4 FH5 into the player and try to see if there's an actual difference. So the first song I'm going to try it on is by Ison, I-S-O-N, and the album is called Andromeda Skyline. This is very ethereal soundtrack and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so we're going to start, and this is in FLAC, by the way. We're going to start playing. Currently, the volume is set at 74. You can only select volume from the player. You cannot use any volume controls on this because there are no volume controls on the tube amplifier. I'm going to increase the volume to 80. This is FLAC at 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit. You can see that it says balanced output, so it knows that it's sending balanced signal. I hear plenty of bass. There's nothing here that's awe-inspiring. I mean, there's no deep rumble to this song at all. It's just, what it has is very techno music, and you get some synth sounds and a drum that's just beating like a heartbeat, but it's not really impactful. It just sounds like a drum. Okay, so now the drum is playing a little bit harder, and I'm going to increase the volume to try to get as much out of this as I possibly can. Volume is now at 90. It goes dun, da dun, 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 da dun, dun, dun. It's not a visceral response to the bass at all. Okay, so let's stop this. And we started hearing that dun, dun, da dun, 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 that beat around 1 minute and I think 25 seconds or so. So let's switch, and we're gonna take this off and put in the FH5 only. Okay, I've got the FH5 in, we're at 91 volume, let's go. It sounds cleaner without the amplifier. So with the amplifier, it sounded more muddy. And I think there's definitely noticeably less distortion. If I can put in numbers, I would. I can't. But you get distortion with tubes. And that's the whole point of having tubes, that there's distortion inside them, right? As they're moving the current. The bass response to me sounds just a little bit more muted on the player versus the combo. And by little, I mean the tube amplifier did elevate the bass just a little bit, brought it out a little bit more, but it also made the mix a bit more muddy at the same time. Let's see where we are in the song right now. Now we have the dun, 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 dun. I'm going to increase the volume to 99, 100. And that's about the same volume as with the combo. The bass sounds more crisp, a bit faster, definitely cleaner than with the player. And I'm going to stop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back to about 1 minute and 24 seconds. And I'm going to listen real quick from 124 to 150. Then I'm going to move it back, switch to the combo, and then listen to it again. And I'm going to try not to say anything, just I want to concentrate on that 25 seconds and try to figure out if there is a real tonal change. Because that bass hit, dun, 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 that's kind of a typical bass hit in most pop songs and synth songs, right? If you can feel that, if there's a definitive extra change, like a bigger oomph, then you could say, hey, look, this bass response is actually worth it, potentially. But if there's a minor difference, then you're going to have to reconsider. Okay, so we are at, turn on, we are at 124. I only have the FH5, and here I go. I'm going to play for 25 seconds. Volume is 100. Very clean, crisp, no distortion at all. Okay, I'm going to switch back to 124. Close enough. So 93 volume basically is where 100 volume was just on the player. It elevates the bass just a little bit. Adds a bit more bass response. And there's a slightly longer reverberation, just tiny bit longer reverberation with the drum strikes. But with that also that muddiness, you're losing out on some of that mid-range and treble detail. When the electric guitar comes in right now, it just kind of starts distorting, and the rest of the mix gets drowned out and I can't hear the rest of the mix clearly at all. Okay, so here's the thing. Doing the A/B test, yes, there is a slight difference. Just, you know, that much difference. This is all very subjective, I understand. And when you're talking about subjective opinion, everybody's opinion is going to be very different. But I can tell you this much, whether I like it or not is a separate issue, that the tonality change does exist, but it's not significant. Is it doing a 2B thing? Yes, it's definitely doing a 2B thing. It's adding distortion. With that distortion comes muddiness and loss of detail. Now you may want that because, you know, if you're buying a tube amplifier, that's exactly what's going to happen. But the bass response on this, going back and forth, is not significant. It is just a little bit. It's noticeable for sure, but it's not so noticeable that you would sit back and go, oh my God, I could not believe that I could get this type of bass response. You can, if you tried just with EQ, if you had a 10 level EQ, 10 parameter EQ, you could very likely get that EQ just right for you and mimic the type of bass response, just a bit more bass that the tubes provide. Now, you're not going to get the same type of tubey sound, obviously, but that may be good because you might still save yourself from all that distortion and muddiness if you just use a built-in EQ versus this type of combination. Does that kind of make sense? Let's try one more song, and let's go back. Let's go to Artist, and we are going to listen to Castle Beat and VHS, Castle Beat VHS. Castle Beat is the artist, VHS is their album, and we are going to listen to Zephyr. This is also in FLEC. I'm going to decrease the sound, 75. And right now what I hear is an electric guitar, and there's a bass in the background. The electric guitar and the bass is basically drowning out the voice. Very hard to hear it. There's a drum strike that comes in. It goes dun 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 dun. That's the drum strike. I have to say the guitars sound really good. It's a longer decay to the guitar plucking. When the bass comes back in, dun 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 dun, it has this kind of thudding effect. It's not a sharp rapport. It's not a sharpness to the drum. It's just thunk, thunk. Like that. It's very dull. Okay, so let's go back. Now what we're going to do is switch. Now that we only have the FH5. Here we go. Crystal clear. By the way, this is FLAC, 96 kilohertz at 24-bit. The vocal is night and day more clear on this song with just the FH5. That drum dun 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 sounds about the same volume as it did with the combo, but far less distorted. And when the guitars come in and the bass is playing stronger, the song doesn't fall apart. Clearly, because the tubes are the things that are messing things up. By design, obviously. Okay, let's stop. So once again, the thing that you're going to find out is this little device, like with all tube amplifiers, not just the Oriolus, they add distortion. And you have to understand this, because if you've never listened to a tube amplifier before, whether it's portable or a desktop, doesn't matter. If you've never listened to one and you buy one and you plug it in and you start listening and you go, oh my God, this sounds terrible. I must have a terrible tube, or there's something wrong with this. It's a terrible device. Well, yes, it could be. But secondarily, and more likely, if you've never listened to one before, is that that's the normal sound. And you are not expecting that. So you just have to understand what tubes do. They add the distortion. Sometimes it's good. It's not good for everything. It's not good for modern music necessarily. It may be really good for older types of genres. It might be great for jazz, for classical. It might be great for vocal-centric songs that are just vocals and very little instruments. But usually, at least in my experience, tubes really don't benefit modern pop songs. And so if you think of it in that term, if you listen to just classical, then it might be of some benefit to you. But that's not a general rule. It's just an observation on my part. Now, let's try one last test. And we're going to go to, where are we? We're going to Hans Zimmer, the Interstellar soundtrack. And there, where is it? Mountains. We're going to go to Mountains and listen to Mountains. This is FLAC 44.1 16-bit. This is just the FH5 connected, no combo. Volume is at 75. I'm going to increase the volume to 90. I hear that low rumble in the background. And it fades fairly quickly. It's dum, dum. It doesn't reverberate long. It does. So here's the difference, right? With just the FH5, it's that low rumble sounds like this. This is the decay. Dum, dum, dum. But with, you know, warmer headphones, warmer DACs, that reverberation lasts a little bit longer. It'll last dum, dum. You see, hear the difference? Dum, 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 dum. Just lasts just a little bit longer. I'm going to skip to the middle of this song where we get the crescendo. And the crescendo starts at 2 minutes, and here we are. Clear separation. I hear the rumble, but I hear the other instruments as well. That rumble just sounds like growing thunder. I can still hear the treble energy in the other instruments. So now let's switch to our combo. See how this thing fares. Okay, got the combo in, and here we go. I'm going to decrease the volume so that it's about equal to what we had with just the FH5. And that would be right around 80 or 81. And the reverberation lasts just a little bit longer. Remember what I said? Dum, dum. This is going dum, dum. Just a little bit longer. Tiny bit longer. That low rumble has a very, very tiny, just a little bit increase in the volume. Whereas with just the headphone or the IEM, it was sounded just a little bit more muted, just a little bit recessed. I can hear the hissing from the tubes that I did not hear with just the FH5 connected to the player. Let's skip ahead to midway, so we listen to the crescendo. Okay, here we are. I'm going to increase the volume to 88. slight difference, slight increase. That rolling thunder type effect sounds a little bit more pronounced, just increase in volume. But that treble energy is faded away a little bit. Okay, so let's stop, and I'm going to go back to about 2 minutes here and listen to just the FH5, then switch back, listen to it on the combo. Here we go. 88. I'm going to increase the volume to about 90. Get much cleaner. You can still feel the thundering, the rolling thunder type effect. It's still there. It's just not lingering as long. But at the same time, you're hearing more of the song. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to the combo. Here we go. Tiny increase in the bass, just little bit. Okay. All right, so here's the thing. As I sit here now, music is not playing. I have the headphones plugged into the tube amplifier, and I can hear that hissing. It's not bone jattering, it's not distracting, it's not annoying to me. You know, it's just minor little hissing. And that's what tube amplifiers do. That's just the nature of tubes. The bass response between just the player versus the combo is there. There is a slight difference. And that slight difference increases the bass, right? So it goes bum, 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 just a little bit longer. It's not night and day difference. It's just a degree of difference. It's a tiny bit. It's like getting a, oh, hi, Charlie. It's like getting a pair of Sony sneakers? I was going to say Sony sneakers. Nike sneakers. It's like getting a pair of Nike sneakers and getting a different pair of Nike sneakers. There's a slight change in Nike sneakers, okay? Unless, you know, you're buying the cheapest of the cheap at 30 bucks and the most expensive of the most, well, hello, Charlie. The most expensive of the most expensive at $250. Even then, not huge differences. That's the type of difference I'm talking about. It's just tiny little step differences. Now, when you listen to the song, can you hear it? Yeah, you can hear it. But is it worth the $500? Now, I'm including the cables, by the way, the extra cables if you buy them. And Charlie is now getting on the couch and sitting right behind me. This is very uncomfortable. Is it worth your investment? Your money? Well, that's a personal decision you have to make. I can't make that for you. But what I can tell you is that the hype behind this product, even though not a whole lot of people have reviewed it, it's not really well deserved. We're just talking about the bass right now. Okay, we're not talking about anything else, just the bass. The bass response is perceptibly different, but not so perceptibly different that I would have to sit here and say, oh my God, this is the best tube amplifier. If you want to hear visceral tube-like, you know, bass response, and this is what you should get. That's not what tubes really do. They elevate the bass just a little bit. They add a little bit of warmth. And yes, it's adding a little bit of warmth, but it's not so different that you have to go out and buy this thing. Whatever little nuances there are just that, nuances. And if this player performs as well as a Little Bear B4, or maybe I should say it the other way around, if the Little Bear B4 performs as close to this, then why not get the Little Bear B4 and save yourself $400? Does that make sense? My position for the bass response is, yes, it's perceptible, but no, it's not Godsmack perceptible. It's not so amazing that if you were hoping to buy this thing to get amazing bass, you are probably wasting your money, and you should instead spend that money on headphones that are tuned for more bass. That will probably fit you better. I hope that this has been of some help. We are going to continue testing the Oriolus BA300s. Next time we're going to go into the mids, and then after that, the treble response. And then we're going to do a head-to-head comparison as best as I can, with the limitations that we have, between the 300S and the Little Bear B4X, which is Knob Sound's version of a balanced tube amplifier. It's not real balanced, but that's okay. I hope that if you are still interested in these videos, that you find my content helpful, that you might consider donating a little bit of your hard-earned money to me once a month on Patreon. I currently have 9 amazing, wonderful patrons who have decided to give me just a little bit of their hard-earned money every month. With your help, with your donations, with your giving, you can help me save up money to buy products like the 300S so that I can review these and give you my impressions. Honest, unfiltered, unadulterated, and frankly, no ass-kicking to any company or other reviewers. If you think that you like my channel and you haven't subscribed, then please consider subscribing. I love getting notifications every day of a new subscriber. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you want me to review a product I currently have on my product list, then please go to the product review form in the description below and fill that out, and I'll get to your request as soon as I possibly can. I hope all of you have a wonderful, amazing rest of your weekend. Take care.